It's the Eagle Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Welcome to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. Our guest this week from the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau, it's Janet Kuhn. Janet, thanks for coming by today.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, thanks. We want to talk to you a little bit about the Convention and Visitors Bureau, what it does, and when people come to town, what do you help promote and what do you talk about? We'll do that. Talk about you a little bit. People have seen you around Hayes for a few years, and how did you grow up in Hayes?
I did. I was born and raised here in Hayes, and I started my travel industry career back in the 1980s.
Were you like a travel agent?
No, actually I started at the Holiday Inn Convention Center here in Hayes. I started as a banquet waitress and continued to work at that property for 16 years and just worked my way up the scale. And the day that I left their property, I was their director of sales, and I had just moved on to another property at that point.
So you've got some background in the hotel business, and I'm sure you've seen it change many times over the years.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, and what was your favorite part of doing the hotel business at the time?
I believe waiting on the customer and finding joy in a customer when I had done a good job for them, when I had brought them a phenomenal meal, or we had shown them a great time at their convention while they were here. Customer service is in my bones, and that is really what I like to do, is to make the customers happy, and I don't want anyone to leave with a frown on their face.
Yeah,
you know.
You probably go back and have some specific memories of even weddings that were back then, and specific stories that you probably don't want to talk about. Meaning good stories. I mean, there's some things we're not going to talk about that. So you've got a lot of those memories, and it worked out. But then another career, I guess, opened up here at Hayes, and you applied for it.
Correct. What I had done, I had gone to college for a little bit. I was a non-traditional student, and so the year that I graduated from college, an opening came up with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. I had been applying for different jobs and went ahead and applied at the Convention and Visitors Bureau and was blessed enough to be employed by them at that time. So I have now been with the Convention and Visitors Bureau for a little over 15 years.
Wow. So that's been and you've seen that evolve too over the years.
Exactly.
Because when you first started, was the building there at 27th and Hall or 27th and Vine at the time?
We were not. We were down on 13th and Pine in a smaller building, and the boss that I worked for at the time applied for a grant through the Kansas Department of Transportation, and we were very, very lucky to get that large grant from KDOT to build this welcome center. And now we're housed at the 27th and Vine Street corner.
That had to be a joyous day for you all in the office when you found out about that.
Absolutely, yes.
And then you had to go through the plans of designing and putting it all together, didn't you? Mm-hmm. So that was interesting as well. Well, we want to talk to you in depth about Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau, what you all do, and because I don't think everybody really knows all you do. We see the yellow sign out there sometimes too, and that the Welcome Center's open. I don't know, but we'll talk to you about all of that stuff here in the second half of the show. Janet Kuhn from the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau, our guest today here on the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman this week. It's brought to you by Hayes Med. We'll be back in just a second.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Eagle Communications is your ultimate business partner. We provide business class phone with customizable features and fast, reliable internet. Your knowledgeable team at Technology Solutions has a broad base of IT services to meet your needs. Let the experts at Marketing Solutions get your message to the right people on the best platforms. The only piece missing is your business. Call Eagle Communications today at 877-61-EAGLE.
Hi everyone, this is Gerard Welbrock inviting you to join us for Tiger Talk. We record it over the noon hours Mondays at Old Chicago, north of the interstate in Hayes, and play back at 6 o'clock Monday nights on Tiger Radio Mix 103. You can also catch it on Eagle TV's channel 14 and 614, Tuesday and Wednesdays at 10 a.m. and 7 p.m., and always on HayesPost.com. So join us for Tiger Talk over the noon hour Mondays at Old Chicago.
Welcome back to the Forum. I'm Mike Kerner in for Gary Shorman. The Forum brought to you by Hayes Med. By the way, Gary would love to hear from you. If you've got a show idea, you can email him personally. It's gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. We'll go to Janet Kuhn now, our guest today from the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau. In the first part of the show, right before we went to commercial, I talked to you about that yellow sign with the red letters that's sticking out there. You see that on the weekends. How did that whole sign come about?
Well, our office hours, are generally Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And we have part-time staff that come in and work evenings and weekends for us during certain busier periods of the year. And they felt like there weren't enough customers coming in, so they wanted to make sure that customers knew we were open the extra hours in the evening and weekend hours. So we had that made for them. So every time they come in to work a shift, they put that out in the front, on the front steps, and let people know that we are open for them to come in and ask for visitor information.
And that's what I want to go to next. When they come in for visitor information, what is it they're looking for? Or does it depend on who the person is? Sometimes they come in for postcards, or what is it they're looking for?
It's absolutely different according to, are they visitors into the community? Are they going cross country? Are they folks that are just locals that have never been in the office and they need to know something? So, we distribute brochures for all the areas here in Hayes, the attractions, the hotels, the restaurants, and things like that. We also distribute brochures from across the state. We're a travel information center. So we have brochures for not only Hayes, but for all over the state of Kansas.
Is that part of your job too, keeping in touch with all these other places across the state of Kansas that are trying to look for places to go? Maybe there's somebody that's visiting from out of town. Maybe there's somebody in town to visit for a ball game that's here, maybe a tournament. So are you looking for, are you setting it up for those people?
We are. Many of the people come in for state maps, or if they're here for tournaments, we can get them the city map and get them down to the Coliseum or send them out to the soccer complex.
But you've also talked to people with all these new attractions across the state of Kansas and try to keep all their information current too.
Oh, correct, yes.
So you guys do all of that stuff. And then, of course, when people come into town, you have to have that information for them. So what are the popular things that people come to visit here in Hayes?
Sternberg Museum of Natural History is one of the highlights. Historic Fort Hayes is very popular. The Ellis County Historical Society Museum. The downtown Hayes area is a destination now, and so a lot of folks are here to go to that area.
Do you also you try to keep the website as current as possible? Because I think the website's probably an important key as well, because when people are planning to come to Hayes for a conference, convention, or even basketball, softball tournaments, they want to know what's there to do in Hayes.
Right. We do have a very up-to-date calendar of events. Because, for instance, we're hosting the Fort Hays State University Tiger Women right now. So we've got folks that are here from out of town, and they can go and look on our calendar and see what were some things that were going on over the weekend that, they didn't want to miss out on because they were here and they were waiting until Monday to play another tournament game. So yes, we absolutely update that website all the time, daily.
Yeah, and they're probably coming into town too, asking what restaurants to go to. So you have to keep that all up to date as well.
We've got some brochures for that, for the hotels, the restaurants. So yeah.
And through the years of doing this Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau, I'm sure you've seen people from all over the globe, and you've probably heard some interesting stories. Any one of them in particular, or a location that in particular you're thinking, how did they get here? Is there anybody out there that
there was a couple that was driving across the United States, and they were from Germany, and they saw a little bit of information about Hayes and the German heritage that we have. So they came into our Welcome Center, and it was lovely to visit with them and to hear them speak their native tongue and to help, direct them to the historic churches in the community or the surrounding communities. So that particular couple has a very special place in my heart.
See, I would assume that stories like that really would stick into your heart and your head too, and make the job all that much worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Now, how many employees are based out of the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau that kind of help work and promote all the events that are going?
We have 4 full-time, 1 part-time, and 2 interns. So one of the interns that we have now is affiliated with the Fort Hays State University Hospitality and Tourism Department, and we really get some phenomenal talent from Fort Hays State University. So it's really amazing. So right now we've got 7 on staff.
So the employees are there, and what are your hours at the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau? I mean, it's from on the weekends, whenever the sign's out?
Well, right. Now, since it's the winter hours, we don't have it open on the weekends right now, but the Welcome Center hours are 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Friday. And then as the spring arrives, we will change those hours to include evenings until 6:30 p.m. and then we'll be open on Saturdays from 10 to 5 and Sundays 1 to 5.
Do you go out, you personally, and go through the web, or you go out and find people to try to attract people to Hayes for conventions?
Absolutely. That is a large part of my position, and so I do seek out those folks. I, pay attention to where they're having their current conventions, figure out ways that I can get into their hip pocket and put in a bid for Hayes to host conventions.
And then do you work the whole thing where you say, okay, we'll have we could get this hotel put together for you, or do you let the hotels bid on it, and then do you find the meeting rooms for them and I guess work on the catering or give them suggestions on that?
As a general rule, when I'm putting in a bid for a convention, I will work from the very beginning of putting that bid together, which includes hotel rooms, meeting rooms, catering menus, etc. And it's not unusual for me to be working with one group for 3 solid years. We will book in 2022, and then I will be their point contact for Hayes all the way through the next 3 years and into the conference and after the conference. It works better that way to have one point of contact, and I'm a great resource for them. I can, help from start to finish.
Now, recently we had Fort Hays State University, the women in the tournament. When the teams come to town, and it doesn't have to be just for that, but when they come to town for events like that, do you work with those teams or those schools, or is that something that somebody else works with?
Well, a lot of times Fort Hays State University will contact us and we will help them secure hotel rooms. So each group is different, really, Mike. Sometimes they go off on their own and sometimes they come to us. So.
And local businesses do the same thing, contact
Absolutely.
you to do that? Mm-hmm. So if there's businesses out there that want to have a conference, whether it's a small one or large one, you can help facilitate
Absolutely.
that.
I can help coordinate everything for them.
Very good. Well, we wanted to know a little bit about your job, and I'm glad you came by to talk to us today.
Thank you so much. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me.
It's Janet Kuhn from the Hayes Convention and Visitors Bureau. Remember that name. If you need something going on here in Hayes, she'll help you out with it. Again, this is The Forum. I'm Mike Kerner, and for Gary Shorman this week, thank you for joining us.